Hello all, welcome to the Pink Sofa Conversations. I'm delighted to have Jessica Ballantyne here today with me. Hi Jessica.
Hi Alicia.
How are you? All good?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Jessica and I, we met through the tunnel. She's part of the collective and she's a drawer, painter, creative spirit. You can see one of her pieces behind her hanging. Originally from South Africa, and what I thought about her when I met her years ago, how bold your series were back then, that you were talking about female figures and sex and all these kind of very out there topics that are very current nowadays. But Jessica, give us a little bit of an understanding of what you're doing as a practice, as a painter.
Well, I've come a long way since my university days, that's for sure. So back then my work was very much based on this kind of feminist idea. I was very inspired by the surrealist artists, artists using the female figure. Now my work has kind of shifted into it's more abstract, I would say, in a way, and it's more kind of open to interpretation, I guess.
Yeah, and you and I were talking that it's through research that you came to discover all these amazing artists that sort of sometimes history has kept hidden when we went to university and we studied art, but that the female figure seen by female artists, that's how it became a big topic, rediscovering all those names.
Yeah, I think when I was doing my thesis at uni, that's when I kind of started researching into feminism, but also how, the difference in the way that the male surrealists portrayed women and the way female surrealists portrayed themselves. So I became really interested in this idea of subjectivity, how we see ourselves, how we portray ourselves to others, and also trying to portray a sense of self in my work. So there was quite a strong psychological basis and inspiration for my work as well.
Yeah, because you're one of those painters that you do really explore your subconsciousness, and your latest series that are mesmerizing because there is this amazing universe of detail, but you play with a lot of subconsciousness and also symbology with animals. Tell us about that latest series that you have been creating.
Okay, well, I've been using ink blots in my work for quite some time. I've been interested in them for their use in psychology as a way to kind of tap into the subconscious.
Yeah.
I've always been really inspired by surrealist techniques.
Yeah.
So they have very specific techniques that they use in their art making to kind of tap into the subconscious. Things like automatism, so creating without a thought or a plan. The cutout technique, William Burroughs, if you look at the beatniks, they were very into kind of the cutout techniques and finding ways to kind of tap into this deeper subconscious mind and come up with visual imagery and written text that is unusual, it's subconscious in nature, and completely unpredictable and quite random sometimes. So my new series is all based on the ink blot. So what I do is I create a series of layers using acrylic paints.
Yeah.
And then once I've done about 3 or 4 layers, I then basically stare at the painting for like 3 days.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then, maybe not that long, but I stare at it for a long time. And then I basically just see what kind of imagery comes to light, really.
Yeah.
And I discovered that I was seeing a lot of animals. I was seeing a lot of sometimes figures, sometimes naked figures, but mostly animals. So I became really interested in this idea of like the inner animal and the symbology behind animals and what they can actually say about our own subconscious and our own kind of personalities.
That's interesting. And that is everything related to your own individual work as a painter, but you're also involved with collective. There is some interactive work that you're always doing. You're very active online, always connected with other people that are leading you to other projects. What's your take on community, on art community, and on having like a clan, a group of people that you can rely on that are part of your group around you?
I think it's so important. When I had my first solo show in 2018 called Sacred Nude, For that show, my dream was like to collaborate with as many creatives as possible. So during that show, I had 4 workshops. So I wanted to involve the public as well, like as many people as I could, to just kind of share creativity, really. So I worked with art therapists, movement therapists. We did life drawing, we did mandala making. So I think, collaborating with creatives is so important, and also being part of collectives as well, just having a space where you can talk to like-minded people, share your work, maybe do like studio crits, get some constructive feedback from other creatives. I think it's so important. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And how does the opinion of the audience impact your art? You were sharing some details about your recent work, how people can interact with it. But in general, are you one of those artists that you kind of want to give every explanation to the viewer? Or do you like to work a little bit with ambiguity and questions, unresolved questions?
Definitely on the ambiguous side, I think. I like it when people kind of, they're in front of your work, they don't quite know what to make of it, but they're seeing something in it, they're connecting with it. And that's always what I strive to do with my paintings. So especially with this series, Animal in Me, which is the ink blot series, because it's so subjective and because people will always see what they see, you can't force someone to see what you want them to see. Yeah. So they'll always see what they see. Which I find absolutely fascinating, and I love hearing from people about what they see in my work. It's quite thrilling, actually. So yeah, the viewer is quite important, definitely.
Fantastic. And we are in very turbulent times. COVID virus, it seems like there will be a tomorrow, but a very different to the one we know now. And so with, being an artist in your view, I would love to have a little bit of input on how you see therapy and art emerging in one, even for you as a teacher. That's also something that I'm sure you will be able to give us a different insight on how art can help you to teach people and to maybe support other communities.
I think any kind of creative art making is really good. I mean, it's scientifically proven that it's really good for your mind. It's good to calm your thoughts. So I think any kind of creative activity that people can engage in this time would be beneficial for them, definitely. And there's so much available online now, where people are kind of tapping into this, offering free classes, offering, a space where people can get together and just chat and maybe draw, or, life drawing online. There's all kinds of things which I think are really positive and really good for people.
Yeah. In this social distancing or physical distancing, like I like to call it, is it gonna impact the art world? What's your take on that? Because we're always thriving to have exhibitions, our artists, a moment where you're getting together with your people, with the viewer, and show your art. But maybe this is gonna force us to rethink how we show our art too.
I think this is a temporary thing. Hopefully, but I think there are loads of spaces online. I was talking to you about Occupy White Walls, which is a game, actually, a free game that you can download, where you can build your own gallery and fill it up with the art that you love. There's a few tunnel artists on the game actually already, so you can actually hang our artwork up in the game, which is really cool. So I think there's a lot more available now in terms of online ways of showing your work. So I think we'll be okay. Obviously, with the whole thing that's going on now, it's very difficult. Well, you can't have exhibitions, so it becomes more important to try and reach out to people virtually. Maybe use social media a bit more. It's just about trying to engage with people and connect with people at the end of the day, no matter how you do that.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity because people are curious and spending time on finding new artists, right? Maybe to finish up, Tell me if you have any coming project, anything lined up for you in the coming months, if coronavirus permits.
Well, I was supposed to do a residency with Great Art, but I don't know if that's going to happen. That was going to be on 1st and 2nd of May. But at the moment, I'm just working on my new series, Animal ME. There's another series I'm working on called Animal in You, which that was going to be a crowdfunding, which hopefully I'll get done this year sometime. So that's all about engaging with other people. So what I'll do is send you an ink blot. You tell me what you see in it, and then I'll kind of develop it and use my artistic license to kind of spruce it up. So that's kind of what I'm working on now.
Fantastic. Yeah. So we will be sharing your website, because you have a little shop there, all the information, the links, so people can follow you. And of course, if they like any of your pieces, ask you, because I'm sure things are, whatever you have in your studio, it's available for sale.
Oh yeah, everything's for sale. That painting's for sale. The plant is for sale.
That's really good. Thank you so much for joining us, Jessica.
Thank you, Alicia. Thanks for having me. It was great talking to you.
Thanks. Bye.